Okay, so we're going to do the cards now, and hopefully the camera will focus and everything is going to be okay. So this is number one. This is the no card, and as you can see, red, black, open lines, kind of hectic. And the important point that I want to make is that it's not about right and wrong. That it's a little bit like the Rorschach cards, where it's what comes to you that is the important message. So to me, sometimes it looks like an ant. If you can, I don't know, it looks like an ant to me. And sometimes it looks like a stop sign, but whatever it is, it feels like an energy that is coming in too strongly, and I need to stop it. I need to put my hand up and say, no, you're not going to come in. So that's the no card. And then we have the dolphin. This looks to me like a dolphin. Also, the exact opposite of the other one. Closed lines, more wavy, more calm. I love this card. This is the yes card. Yeah, this is for me the most important card in the deck, the higher self card, or the symbol of my guides. Again, I just don't, I can't believe that I drew this. It just came in one line. And you can read in the book what this card means, but to me, every time this card comes in, it means that, okay, you're being watched over, you're being guided. This is all the divine plan, so don't worry, be happy. You're loved. Higher self. This is an interesting one because, oh, we just lost wisdom. This is interesting because this is not the original color of this card. We actually digitally messed with it and we came up with this purple. Again, just because when I created these, I wasn't doing them with the intention of creating artistic masterpieces, and I didn't have purple. So yeah, so we've digitally messed with it. So now it's purple, and to me it looks like an angel wing and its protection, of course, Archangel Michael, all that good stuff. So that's the protection card. Yeah, this is another one that I love dearly. The wisdom card. It looks like a shield. It looks like something tribal. Again, one line, one drawing, connecting to your ancestor wisdom, to that the Gaia energy and everything that comes with it. Yeah, I'm not going to talk long because you guys can read the book, and I really try to put what I think about the cards in the book, so not too much talking here, just want to show you the cards. But again, I love the energy that came from this one. The meditation, to me, this shows how we clear the mind. So the black patches are the worry, and then sort of the calm in the middle is as we clear the channel, we clear the path for messages to come through, and the orangey bits are moments of inspiration. Yeah, this is the fishbowl, the cherish fishbowl. So something is in there that you're supposed to pay more attention to, if you care to. And I think for me, it's very difficult sometimes to acknowledge all the good things that are working. So I tend to focus on the negative. But this card is a wonderful reminder to me, and I'm sorry it keeps going in and out of focus. Yeah, we're just going to have to cherish this moment. Yeah, so the red patches in the middle are the ones that are showing you that you're supposed to pay attention to them, and give them a little bit more TLC. The be still. Basically, this is the eye of the storm. So you're supposed to let go of the storm, get into the middle of it, and calmly observe what's happening around you without interacting with it, which is obviously very difficult to do. But this card is my friendly reminder to say, engaging with the storm is not going to get you to move forward. It's actually sitting still in the eye of the storm that is going to get you through it. So this is the be still card. So this is my version of the yin and yang. And again, it happens sort of subconsciously, but the card of accept means that we all carry with us light and shadow, and we need to accept that, that in each and every one of us there are those bits and there are those parts, and try to see the whole picture as a whole. I know that I get stuck. Yeah, I mean, we all get stuck, so it's not that important. But yeah, the acceptance card, or accept. Yeah, this is my mantra. Let go. And probably my hardest life lesson, and of course it got number 10 because I'm October 28th, so there are 2 10s there. Yeah, letting go is a lifelong lesson. I love the arcs on top and sort of accepting the shadow again, accepting the light, and transmuting it, letting it go, letting it out of your system. Yeah, this is a funny one. So this is, I don't know if it looks like a cup or it looks like a fountain, but the Nourish card came in very strongly with the message that we are all starving ourselves. So to stop doing that and try to feed your soul, feed your body, love yourself a little bit more. So I know this is a very important card for me. This is a difficult card just because it can be seen as a little vague. Learn what? Learn the lesson. And the message that came with it was that we need to learn how to see the entire chapter or the entire book and not just get stuck on 1 or 2 incidents. It's the perspective of seeing the entire story and the entire lesson that will help us integrate it and learn from it and then move forward. So that's the Learn card. Yeah, another very hard time with this card. I'm not good at receiving. And it was interesting that sort of the colors that came through were the colors of the 3 lower chakras. So pull all that divine goodness all the way down into your, through your chakra column, and get all that great energy to stay and not just evaporate after you finish the meditation. So open your arms, open to receive, let things in. Yeah, let that good stuff through. Yeah, that's... that's my guides laughing at me with change the speed, because I insist on doing everything way too fast and then things go wrong. So this card for me was a reminder to take it slow. But it could also mean the opposite. It could also mean that you're doing things maybe too slowly or dragging your feet. Something about the speed needs to change. Again, it looks like a little like a silly card. Like, what do we need to think about? But for me, it's a really profound life lesson to just find the right speed to do things. Yeah, this also is one of my favorites because it came in one swoop. I mean, they all came in one swoop, but this one just amazes me that it came in one swoop. And it looks a little like a plant, so you get the reference there, the grounding card. Another very powerful card for me, and I think for most empaths, so stop interfering is a very powerful card for me because I find myself... as an empath getting stuck in other people's crap a little too often. So this card is a reminder for me that there is a boundary, and sometimes getting in other people's business is none of my business. And as I am loved and being taken care of, they are loved and being taken care of, and they have their guides and their path, and just to stay out. I know it may be counterintuitive to some of us going, no, if you're a compassionate person, you should be compassionate and always help. But yeah, for me, this is a reminder that I don't always have to interfere. This card, the centering card, I'm not going to go into I think this card just deserves a whole video in itself, but the idea behind this card, and it's different from grounding, is that centering is figuring out your position on an issue. So there is position A, let's say black, position B, which is white, and position C, which is somewhere in the middle with sort of the gray area. And really on almost every issue, you can find yourself oscillating between different positions of yes, no, maybe, I want to, I don't want to, maybe I should. And this card sort of calls for us to focus on the issue, figure out our position, and then stick to that position and not waver. And again, it's explained more elaborately in the book. Communicate, number 18. So the communicate card for me, as you can see on the bottom, it's a mess. On top, it's clear. It's the ability to translate our thoughts or emotion into positive communication. And I know being... Scorpio, Cancer rising, a lot of water, being very emotional. Sometimes communication and articulating what I'm feeling can be a really difficult challenge. So this card reminds me that my words have a lot of power and that I have to choose them wisely. But also, it talks about our body communication and making sure that we are really communicating what we want to communicate and not just go on default. Yeah, this is my Leo card. Own your power. 19, today is August 19th, and they kind of want me to release this into the world today. So I'm going to own my power today and release you guys and release this deck into the world. Own your power, people. Yeah, the card I hate the most, the Decide card. And again, I talk a lot about it in the book, but decisions for me are very difficult. And this card just says, whatever you decide is the best decision, just as long as you don't stay in this limbo and undecidedness. So, pack up your courage, make a decision, and whatever you decide is going to end up well. Put boundaries. This was a funny one because I remember as I was drawing it and sort of got the message of, draw boundaries, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boundaries, and don't let it in. And this talks about email communications, talk about phone calls, favors, people asking you for your energy. And your job is to put boundary and politely say no. So it's a continuation of the first card, but this is a little bit more about protecting your time and guarding it. The Express card is very reminiscent of the letter card in the Lenormand. And it's just an ink spill or a burst, whatever you want to call it. And the idea is that you need to take pen to paper and express what's in your being, and letting it out is going to have a much more powerful impact than just carrying it with you in your being. So let it out, express it. Act. I don't think this needs a lot of explanation. Do it. Whatever is on your mind, just get the courage and go out and do it. I think I used the Tony Robbins quote that says, massive action is what's needed here. So this is the card that says massive action. Yeah, this is a card that is, again, it's a little bit difficult because what it asks you to do is to go into your being and find why you're doing what you're doing and find the right intention. And most of the time we find the shadow intention before we find the light intention. So we find all the wrong reasons for doing things. But this card sort of says, sit with it and figure out why you're really doing what you're doing. And hopefully you will come up with a good, positive reason, or maybe discard the whole thing altogether. But find your intention. Yeah, this is one of the... You see that blur on the top, so that was corrected in this printing. But keep it simple. And again, it was a personal message to me because I like to complicate everything. So this card says, for God's sake, the simplest answer is the answer. Don't complicate it. Keep it real and just move forward. There's no value into complicating whatever is going on. Just move forward. This is a very special card for me because it really proved to me that we all have a light switch inside. So when we feel very dark, and nowadays there's every reason to feel dark about what's going on in the world, that we are here to change that reality, that we are here to turn on the light switches for ourselves and for everybody around us. And we do that by focusing on the things we love, the things that make us laugh and smile. I think in live chat this week, Kelly mentioned the term of expanding your soul. So the things that expand our soul and help us grow, and that we're not victims of our environment, that we have the ability within us to turn things around and to turn on the light switch. And sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's more difficult, but nevertheless, it's an ability that we all possess. The magnet card. So I couldn't believe that a magnet actually emerged in this doodle. Again, it was not intentional. It just came out. So I think it's like a figure sitting on top of the magnet. What do I want to say about it? So this is about loops, and loops are created by our subconscious based on past experiences. And this card says you're in a loop, figure out which loop it is, and then make a different decision and get out of that loop. So up till now, you sort of see that most of these are very real action-oriented cards, and I think the next sort of level is going into more spiritual ideas. And obviously the sacred space, I don't need to elaborate on this. There are instructions in the chapter about how to create a sacred space and what it means. But to me, this was a revolutionary idea that we can create a space to invite our guides to come into and to communicate with us. So this is a very powerful card for me. Now, once we've established the sacred space, the idea is that we need to try and sustain that space, and especially when the situation is more difficult. So this card says, hold the energy. You choose which energy you're trying to hold. The energy of love, the energy of success, the energy of perseverance, whichever energy you want to sustain. This card is asking you to find a way to sustain it in the face of adversity. The music card. So what do I want to say about this? So much. Obviously, when you get this card, it means go listen to music, but it also means that we are all connected as one. And what music does, it sort of shows how no matter what culture, what country, what race, what gender you come from, that music is a force that unites us all and just brings us to this place where we're all the same. So it's a card of inspiration, it's a card of embracing music, but it's also the card that says that we are all one. Yeah, I actually needed a card to remind me to ask, not only for the question when I'm doing the cards, but also for help and also for advice. And sometimes you need directions from somebody on the street, and not be shy and ask. Collaborate. So these cards are a result of a long collaboration between me and my guides and there's another card that talks about the reluctance, but this is just reminding me that I'm working with others on the earthly plane, on the divine plane, and not turn my back to them. The miracle card, which is very simple doodle. It is really, I kept thinking, oh, this should have like all the colors of the rainbow in it, but no. Miracle is just a very fast shift in consciousness where you allow the energy to completely change, reverse, alter, whatever you will consider a miracle. And when this card comes up, it means the potential for that shift is there if you allow it to happen. Channel. This card might be difficult for some people who don't want to engage in channeling, but for me, channeling is all the way from drawing these cards to when I play music, to when I'm writing, to when I'm experiencing goosebumps. So it's not only channeling in the sense of giving messages, but it's also channeling in terms of energy and just a connection. So I say in the forward, you're very welcome to take cards that don't resonate with you out of the deck. Please do that. But also, if you're curious about something that you're not familiar with, then keep the card and see what it brings up for you. Yeah, my attempt at drawing God. And of course, it's not going to focus. No, here we go. So as I was reminded, you can draw God. This is sort of a portal or a prompt to remind us that the divine is there. And if we choose to interact with it, it will interact back with us. It's reminds me a little bit of the world card with the 4 swirls on the sides. What do I want to say about this? It's, for me, just a reminder that... here we go. Spirit. Sorry about this, guys. So the Spirit card is sort of a portal, a gateway, a meditation prompt for you to focus on the divine and try to connect with it. My position right now is that the divine wants to communicate with us if we want to communicate with it, but it will stay away if we don't give it an invitation to come and visit. So this card is the invitation card. Let go of resistance. Resistance should have been my middle name. I don't want to do things and I'm very resistant, and the fact that you are even seeing this video is a small miracle. This card is reminding me that, like Jonah, I have the options of being swallowed by the whale, and I think this kind of looks like a whale a little bit, or I have the option of following on my path and being courageous and seeing it through. And again, I apologize for the lack of focus, but I guess resistance is a problematic card for me. Faith. This looks a little bit like a little figure being carried by a cloud of spirit. We all have our guides and our loved ones that are trying to help us. So if we let that energy carry us, it will. But it means that we need to allow it in. We can't just expect miracles to happen. It's an openness in us that allows faith and hope to lift us from whatever we're experiencing. This card, very, very reminiscent of card number 3 with almost the same shape, except that in this case we're pulling that energy and healing with it, healing ourselves, healing those around us. Now we're getting into the, I think, more complex card that maybe I pack too much into them, maybe not, I don't know, you guys will tell me. But the time card has 2 things. It basically says time is not linear. We're experiencing all possible realities at the same time. And as we are doing that, all those who came before us are actually standing right next to us, if that makes sense. So I see it a little bit, you can see a little bit figures here, and the use of the 3 colors, past, present, and future. It's all one. So when this card comes up, it can mean that you need to give time, you need to take time, your understanding of time needs to be adjusted, that your ancestors and spirit guides are next to you, so you need to allow them to help you with the situation. And again, all of these explanations are listed in the book. But I know that this is a more complex card. Love is not a complex card. I don't need to talk about it, right? That's love for me. Embrace abundance, again, not something that needs a lot of explanation, but I think I included the shadow, included the dark patches there, because it's never going to be just rainbows and unicorn. There's going to be obstacles on our path to abundance. But if we embrace that shadow with love, if we accept the imperfection, then we have much better chances at moving forward. Yeah. This is the rest card. The thing I suck at, I'm not good at it, and it's here to remind me that I too need to sometime take a chill pill and go rest. Yeah, this is another one that I love, the transformation card. You can see how the colors are sort of liberating the black patches, or you can also see the opposite, as the black patches are trying to interfere with the color patches. But the idea is that as we transform, as we change, as we heal, those around us are transformed and healed as well. Change your perception. Change your perception means that we need to play with the zoom of the camera, with the lens, and we need to either get closer or get further back. But there's something about the way that we're looking at the situation that is getting us into trouble. It could also mean that somebody is not saying the truth, or that you're not saying the truth. So we change your perception. You need to look at the situation and try to readjust. 45, the integrate. The way I explained it in the book is that it's a little bit like when you left some belongings at your ex's and you need to go get them back, but you don't really want to because you don't want to see them. So the integrate card says, hold on, if it can focus. Can you focus? Integrate, thank you. It says, you left a piece of your soul somewhere and it needs to be integrated. And that can be happening with somebody, with a friend, with a person, or it can be happening on a more karmic level, where there's a piece that you've left in a soul in a past life. And that's what evolutionary astrology is all about. And I list some sources in the chapter. So the integrate card, when that comes up, it's a little bit of what did you forget and where did you leave it, and go get it back. Joy. A little bit like the bouquet card in the Lenormand. Celebrate joy and more joy. And of course it's nemesis, fear. And fear for me, as you can see, there's the orange patch on the bottom. And what it means is that as we go through that tunnel of fear, there's light at the end, but the only way to get to that light is if you go through the mess, through the anxiety, through the fear, and you live with it for a while. Fear is there to give you a message. It's not your enemy. So if you choose to look at it, if you choose to face it, you will find some golden nugget of truth at the end of that tunnel, and it's worth the journey. Lead. Boy, can I talk about this one for an hour. This is our ability to take charge of the situation, leave the victim mentality behind, run after our vision, bring it to fruition regardless of the result. So I talk in the book about all the projects that I've led and what do I want to say, and didn't succeed, but it's still, the lesson is very worthwhile, and the ability to share a vision with other people and help them go with you on that vision. 49, granted, from my readers and from my editors, is the hardest card in the deck because I've just packed too much into it. But what it really means is that we have the option at any point of moving on a scale from negativity to positivity, from fear to love, from not believing to believing, that we have mobility on these spectrums from one side to the other. So that's really the basic meaning of this card. But what it also means is that when we are in the swamp of despair, when we are looking at a really dire situation, that what we need to do is to look up and to find inspiration above us, not around us. So yeah, a lot of meaning in this card. And the last one, I can't believe we're getting to the last one. Here we go. When this prompt came up, I couldn't believe that this was what they wanted me to say, but respect. And now I understand it all too well. We are all at different points in our journey. And we tend to judge people who are either more advanced than us or behind us as being wrong. And this card is a reminder to just take a deep breath. Not everybody's going to understand what you're about. Not everybody's going to understand your journey. Most people can't. They have not been in your shoes, so they don't know what you experience. And to be gentle and compassionate and give people space. And I say that to myself, and this is why this card is here, obviously, that when I get frustrated with people and their perspective is that they're just not at the same place, and all I need to do is just give them the space to learn their lesson. Not everybody's going to understand these cards. Not everybody's going to learn to love these doodles or to love these doodles. So I need to be patient with myself and with them and to just let people be. And now there's the 50 cards. Yay! Let's see what else I want to do. So I'm going to turn this off for now and I'll come back in a second.